You don't need a license for a CB and you shouldn't need one for ham. What do they talk about on ham? But says, I don't understand anything, but it looks so cool. All right, so this next one here, I believe I'm talking to Chili. Okay, so we'll get into this right here. This will kind of help me transition into talking about the FCC, okay? So it says, Wolf Rig 2000. I don't like the politics you have to go through to get into ham radio. There are too many Karens and too much red tape. You don't need a license for a CB and you shouldn't need one for ham. Okay, I get it, okay? I get it. But let's talk about the politics. I don't know, I don't 100% understand the politics outside of there's a governing body. Yes, we're having to be licensed to use something that should be freely used. But what happens when things get freely used oftentimes? They get abused. They become a place that's just not welcoming to be. So outside of that, okay, because I mean, you look at CB, don't get me wrong, if you like running CBs, I grew up running CBs. CBs was the first radios. Matter of fact, I'm thinking about getting another CB to set up here just so I have one because it's still radio. Okay, I'm not knocking CB or CB operators at all. I'm not that ham radio guy, okay? However, understand, like you go on, what is it, channel 6, I think it is on CB, and all it is dudes that are running thousands of watts of power just trying to jam up and talk over whoever's using it. Yes, there's people that can carry on conversations on there, but then you get all the people that come in and they're making noises, they're playing music, they're trying to drown you out. It just becomes a toxic place to be. Now, is there areas like that on amateur radio? Yes, but very, 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 very few. And we've got so many more places we can go and talk to get away from that. Okay? Are there jerks on ham radio? Yeah. There's jerks with anything. There's jerks in any hobby. I don't care what it is. If it's riding bicycles or racing cars or freaking doing crossword puzzles, there's jerks in every single hobby, all right? That's unavoidable. You just gotta find a place to ease on and do your thing without them being around. It's a lot easier to do that on ham radio, and there's less of them on ham radio. But taking the test and all that is not a big deal, okay? The only reason why there's CB radio is because that frequency, that band, was taken from ham radio. So you can thank ham radio for the CB band if you really look down at it like that, you know? So, there's too many Karens and too much red tape. I don't know what you mean by the Karens. I haven't really met any Karens. Got what we call sad hams. That's guys that were ham radio operators back in the day when it was like super elite and super hard to become an amateur radio operator, and they don't think anybody's as good as they are. There's a few of them out there, but you know, they're slowly dwindling away, right? So I don't understand that, and I don't understand the red tape. Like literally, when I decided to do this, I bought a subscription. Well, it's not a subscription. I bought a service from hamradioprep.com. I studied. I took practice tests. I found a local radio club near me. I called them up, found out when they were testing. I went, took my test, came home. A couple days later, I had my license, and I could talk on my radio. I don't know about red tape there. And if you're talking about, well, what about the rules? You know, you can only run up to 1500 watts as a general or above. You got to say your call sign every 10 minutes. What else? Don't cause any intended interference. I don't know. Be a gentleman while on the air. If that's red tape, then bro, I don't know how to help you other than saying I think you got it wrong, man. And look, I grew up on CB. I don't take no crap from nobody. You know, I'm not a pushover. When I feel somebody needs to hear what I think, I let them know. And that includes on ham radio, right? So there's still freedom of speech on there. It's just, It's just being a gentleman. And 98% of the time, everything is cool. There's no problems. There's no red tape. I mean, I'll be honest with you, there's been times I've been on a rag chew and I might have gone an hour and didn't say my call sign. The FCC's not beating down my door because of it, okay? And that's the other thing. Everybody acts like the only time the FCC is going to mess with you is if you're causing interference. And when I mean interference, you're causing interference with air traffic. You're causing interference with public safety traffic. You're causing interference with things like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like there's 15, you know, a dozen to 2 dozen FCC officers in every county just looking to knock on somebody's door and give them a citation or whatever for breaking the law. Where's the red tape and just being a gentleman and following the rules and staying in your band privileges? Yeah, I could go to CB. CBs cost less for the most part, unless you spend a lot of money hopping them up. Pretty much go on there and say what I want to. I don't need a call sign. I'm not going to be on a list by the government. That's the other thing I don't understand. You know how many lists you're in? If you own firearms of any sort, you're on a list. If you got a credit card, you're on a list. If you got a driver's license, you're on a list. If you got a social security number, you're on a list. If you've flown one time, you're on a list. If you've got a bank account, you're on a list. If you voted, you're on a list. The whole thing about being on a federal list or being on something that somebody can access your information this isn't the 1930s or 10s or 20s anymore, man. Like, your information is out there. If somebody wants to find you, know where you live and how to contact you, they're going to do it regardless if you're a ham radio operator or not. So I don't understand that argument. The argument of that to deter anybody from doing ham radio. Here's the thing. The testing gets you the license and gets your call sign and gives you the ability to get on the frequencies and transmit and talk to people. But also the testing helps you learn and understand how this stuff works. Amateur radio is kind of like one big science experiment, right? We're allowed to work on our equipment. I won't say allowed. We have the ability to work on our equipment. We have the ability to modify our equipment. We have the ability to try things, test different types of antennas. We can set balloons up, put transmitters and transponders on them and receivers on them and send them up into the ionosphere and see if we can talk with them and back and forth and pass data and stuff like that legally through the FCC because we're licensed ham radio operators. To the point that, let's say this instance right here, as a licensed ham radio operator, it's a licensed station through the FCC. If my neighbor has something going on that's causing interference with my station, like RF noise or anything like that, because I'm licensed, I have the ability to let him know that he's got to fix that because it's causing interference on me. And technically, he has to fix it. Now, am I going to go do that? No, probably not. There's other ways I can mitigate that. But let's talk about the flip side, because I know I was in the CB world for many, many, many years before I got into ham radio. There's a lot of times where people are like, well, my neighbor down the street, every time he gets on the CB, it bleeds through my TV and my lights dim and blah, 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 blah. Well, that CB radio operator ain't got nobody going to come to his defense. If that person really wants to press it, the operator is going to get in trouble because if they press it now, like I said, there's not FCC officers running around in every county just looking for somebody to bust. But if that person really pressed it, they could get the local departments and they can get the FCC involved, and they'll go to the CB operator and say, hey, you can't be doing that, and then inspect his equipment and all that stuff. And if he's got more than legal limit, which he probably does, if he's going through somebody's TV that's, neighbor 2 or 3 doors down, he may have big problems, Now, so let me go back to the FCC stuff. Like I said, they're not swarming around everywhere looking for somebody to bust, okay? And ham radio operators, pretty much we police ourselves. Where the FCC is going to get involved and where red tape is going to start coming out is when you are intentionally causing interference. For instance, there was a guy during the California fires this past year that was going on that, to my understanding, Okay, I wasn't there. I didn't hear this for myself. I heard this through other channels. He had a Baofeng radio that he bought for $20 on Amazon or whatever, right? And he figured out what frequency to get on to talk to the people that were facilitating the helicopter water drops and the airplane drops to try to suppress the fire. And he was getting on his Baofeng and he was interfering with their communications, trying to get them to come over there to his place to dump water on his property. He got a knock on the door, obviously, and he got fined a lot of money for doing that. So here's the thing, when we've got all these bands that we can talk on, but there's bands in between these bands, right? Could be air traffic bands, there's public safety bands. Like the spectrum, it's not channelized like CB is. Channelized CB, you got 1 through 40. We don't have channels. We can scroll through that entire band down to these. Check this out. I mean, just so you understand here. Like right there, I can talk right there. I can talk right there. I can talk right there. Look, I ain't even changed up into here yet. So it's not channels, it's frequencies. Just like listening on the radio, 94.7 WQDR. Well, that's 94 megahertz. Right now I'm in 14 megahertz. A literal radio station, technically, right? So you're correct, you don't need a license for CB. This is far different from CB, my friend. Whole different animal. It's far more reliable, far more frequencies, areas you can talk. You can do Morse code, you can do RIDI, you can do PSK, you can do FT8, FT4, you can send email, you can talk to the space station, you can bounce your signals off of satellites. CB is its thing, and it's useful, and there's tons of people that enjoy it, and that's fine. I'm not knocking it one bit. Ham radio is a completely different animal. No comparison, okay? You got to be tested to do it, which means people that really want to do it are going to put forth the time and effort to learn it, to test, and to follow the rules. No different than following speed limits. No different than stopping at a stop sign instead of blowing through an intersection. No different than any of that stuff. So I don't understand the whole red tape thing and the politics. If that's politics and red tape, then the rest of the stuff in the world is far more difficult. So that's just a few comments. I don't want to make this video too long. It's probably already too long. But yeah, throwing out some ham radio comments. I've got another one on Facebook. I'll have to find, I think it was the first, may have been the first ham radio short I did. It was me talking to Hawaii, making a contact to a guy in Hawaii, and that's got a metric crap load of comments in it. Probably some really good ones to talk about. But I figured I'd make this quick video just showing you guys that I'm seeing your comments and might make a video about them. So if you have any other questions about ham radio, if you're excited that I'm showing some ham radio stuff, etc., let me know down in the comments below. I appreciate you guys hanging out, and I'm looking forward to doing more ham radio stuff. I got a new radio now and kind of getting my station all figured out. And I'll probably do a video on kind of how, and it'll be a somewhat short video because I don't have the most elaborate system in the world, but I'll show you guys what I have for a radio station, and y'all can make some comments and ask questions in that too. And if I know the answer, I'll certainly try to answer it for you. Yeehaw. Love you, mean it. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're not subscribed. Again, if you got any questions, throw them down in the comments below, and I'll see you next time with another video. Peace out, Cub Scouts. Oh yeah, and if you're interested in testing for radio, you got your technician is your first level that gets you on VHF, UHF, and a small portion of the HF bands, 10 meters, and some CW stuff. Or you can go with general, which is what I got right now. So you get everything technician gets. Kind of sounds like a BattlBox in a way. You get everything in technician's privileges, and then you get more privileges on the HF bands for general. I think that's an excellent bang for your efforts, right? So general pretty much gets you to be able to do whatever you want to do. And then extra is the upper level, and it just gives you a little bit more portions in the HF bands. I recommend at least going for general. It's my recommendation. You can go to hamradioprep.com, use code BattlBox at checkout, They'll give you 10% off, and that's including on what they already may be offering. If they've got a percentage off already, that'll add that to that. So check them out. I think it's the best way to study. It's what I used back 5 years ago, and it's what I'm currently using to study for my extra exam. And you can take practice test on there till you're blue in the face, and then you go take your test and ace it. Yeehaw. Love you, mean it. See y'all next time.